So, okay, so what do I have here? Can anyone tell me what is this? And what is this? Okay, what do I use this for? And what about this? Nails. Not to bang it on somebody's head, no? N- to nails, right? So it has a purpose, right? This has a purpose. And even this has a purpose. Is it? Or is it something that is useless and just kept aside? No, there is a purpose to it. Am I right? So a hammer or a screwdriver has a purpose. Okay? So now if a hammer has a purpose, even though it's very insignificant in our lives, we may use it once in a way. Am I right? You may feel that, oh, I don't need to use a hammer every day. Do anyone uses a hammer every day? Probably a carpenter or uh, person who's doing some carpentry may use it every day, but probably none of us. So we may also feel that that we may be like this hammer, probably has children, oh, insignificant, inferior. We may feel that way, but does God tell us that? What does God tell us? If we have a purpose, if this tool has a purpose, what does God tell us about? Yeah, any chorus answers? See, if God made us, God created everything. If God made us, He made us with a purpose, right? So there is a purpose to us. It's not like, oh, we are born, we are 1 year old, we start crying, and then 2 years, 3 years, we go to school, 4 years, first standard, fifth standard, 10th standard, okay, degree, I go to work, okay, done. Get married, life is over. Is that it? No, right? There is more to it. God didn't create us to just come in this earth, make our lives for ourselves, and get done with it. There is more to it. God chose us before the foundation of this earth. It says in Ephesians chapter 1. We can turn there. Ephesians chapter 1, verse 4. Just as He chose us in Him before the foundation of the world. Are you all there? Ephesians 1, 4. Okay, got it? Ephesians 1 4. Just as He chose us. See the greatness of God and His grace towards us, that He chose us. We didn't choose God. I am not here because I chose God. He chose us in Him, that is Jesus Christ, before the foundation of the world. Can you think about that? Can you comprehend it? I cannot. I mean, before even this earth was formed, we may have learned in science that the earth was formed in so many different ways, you know. But think of what God says. Even before this earth was formed, He chose us. Is that amazing? Yes? So think about that. God chose us before the foundation of this world for a purpose, not just anything. Let's continue reading. It says in the same verse, foundation of the world, that we would be holy and blameless before Him in love. Verse 5, He predestined us to adoption as sons through Jesus Christ to Himself, according to the kind intention of His will. Verse 6, to the praise of the glory of His grace, which He freely bestowed on us in the Beloved. And verse 7, in Him we have redemption through His blood, the forgiveness of our trespasses, according to the riches of His grace, which He lavished on us in all wisdom and insight. You see, God chose us before the foundation of this world to be holy and blameless, to live in Jesus Christ, to walk in Jesus Christ, to be a brother and sister with Jesus Christ. Isn't that amazing that He gives us this privilege? Yes. So even as children, has this tool, it has a purpose, even though it's a very small tool. It has a purpose in life. Even I am one in 8 billion. Are we 8 billion on this earth? Yeah. So I am one in 8 billion people on this earth. And God chose me before the foundation of the world, amongst 8 billion people. Think about it. And He tells me, Jonathan, I want you to be holy and blameless. Jonathan, I want you to be my child. You know, even as children, we can be His child, His sons and daughters. It says in this verse, His sons and His daughters. So I have a purpose in life, and that is to be like Jesus. We read in Romans 8:29, it says, My goal, He predestined us to become like Jesus. So our goal is to make us, God will make us like Jesus. So our purpose, you know, think about it. Why am I here on earth? Even as a child, even as a teen, when I'm going to school or college, think, why am I here? Why am I in this classroom among 60 students? Amazing. God chose you before the foundation of this world to be in this class among the students. God chose me before the foundation of the world to be in this moment, be in this work, be in this part of this office, for one purpose, that is to make me like Jesus Christ. So think about that. So don't think that, oh, I am just one person here. No, it's nothing happening. Don't think that way. God thinks of you as a single person, as He thinks of me. He thinks of me and He calls me by name, by Jonathan. He does not say, you, one in a billion, come here. No, He does not say that. He calls me by name. He says, Jonathan, you're my child. Come, you know, fellowship with me. So He calls each of you by name, even the least sitting over here. Remember that verse, the least, is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. The least, that means even the child, even the smallest child sitting here, He wants to fellowship with the children too. Okay? Amen.